to even advise in this area. Moving on to item 8, Agenda Bill 15510, PSA with PB America. I'm becoming very discouraged with why Schuylkill spending so much on PSAs, is professional service things. The city has had so many plans presented in various forms over and over again. The expense of $64,300 for another analysis really not only frustrates me, but many other residents that I have spoken with. Of all the high-paying administrative positions in place, we could have a full-time civil engineer. The city needs to concentrate on what they have, not what they think they need. We have had many outsiders telling the city what to do, and they are making money from its residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to address the council?
Don Boland, 32934 Southeast 20th Street. And now I know what it's to like to follow a tough act. Last time you were talking about the budget, and I wanted to make comments, but there was no opportunity at the end of the meeting. So that's why I'm here tonight. I did read the paper, and I was a little disappointed there, because it appeared the entire focus was on the $148,680. Because the thing that hit me in the preliminary mayor's budget here was the difference between 09 and 010. The revenues only dropped $74,000, but the expenses went up $250,000, and we had a deficit, or in my words, a loss of $650,575. There was a lot of talk about the rainy day fund, which is fine, and how it got accumulated. As best I can tell, you've got $5 million in the reserves. I don't know how that's tracked, but there must have been a lot of operating surpluses in, I guess, years 5, 6, 7, and 8. Sometimes it would be interested to, from a citizen's point of view, were those accumulated in those years. That was the inference from the meeting last week. That's when we filled the coffers. The other thing, I do have a quick comment on what should we use the rainy day funds for? And certainly rainy day funds are good. In fact, I'm for them. I have a rainy day fund. But I feel that if you put that budget and put your own household on it, I wouldn't use it to buy cars, TV sets, or capital projects. I certainly wouldn't use the fund to solve a structural problem within the city expenditures. To me, a rainy day fund is pretty simple. It's to bridge a gap for operating expenses to get you to the next level so you can be doing things. Here again, I'm not sure, but with the numbers I have, I feel there's a structural problem of some kind. And I have sort of a clue of that, because if you look at the 5 years, the lowest deficit was $269,000, say $250,000. The largest was $750,000. That adds up to almost $2.5 million. And I guess the thing I was disappointed in, there was not a lot of discussion about that. But if that was happening in a business or in my household, I would think I would be focusing on the losses. Now, the other thing I feel is that probably 80% of your budget is staff or labor. So if you got a structural problem, it's got a portion of it's got to be there. And I come to the meetings on compensation planning, and they say we compare our jobs to other city jobs. Well, the problem I have with that is, if I look around the country, 95% of the cities, states are in trouble. And all that could tell me is if we're better than them, that may mean we're just sinking slower, that we haven't solved the structural problem. So I really think you have to look at the compensation packages of what it takes to run this city. And you have to look outside, comparing it to other cities. I know you got a tough job. It sounds like maybe I don't, but because the problem you have is, if I'm like everybody else, I want the same service, but why should I have to pay any more for it? That means you got to be pretty smart. And there are industries where the price has been going down. So far, it doesn't have to be in cities. So one of the things I would suggest is, and I think you people have a fiduciary responsibility to take a look at the compensation of the city and how it's being funded. And I think with that, you'll discover that a few things have to be changed. Thank you. I can tell you, by the way, it's hard for me to come here. I know you'll have no sympathy, but before I go, I have to have my wife's list clean. Take care.
I think many of us can understand that. Thank you, Mr. Boland. Mr. Olsen.
Harvey Olsen, 3903 R Street. Unfortunately, the two previous speakers have stolen my thunder.
Moving right along then.
And, but I do have a couple of comments. One is, I'll start off this way. Every one of you in the city council, the last time you ran for election, I actually voted for all of you. Neither here nor there. One was unopposed, but I still voted for him. Anyway, what I wanted to point out is you folks have a very tough decisions to make regarding finances of this city. Very, very tough. I heard an interview with the governor of New Jersey, who has kiboshed and quit the $9 billion tunnel under the river, wherever it is, back in New Jersey. He has cut out all kinds of jobs that would have been there for making the tunnel. All fine and dandy, except for one thing. All the money that was going to be used for that tunnel was already earmarked for other projects. So if he built the tunnel, they have no way of paying anybody. So my thought here would be to you folks, and he was interviewed, he said, I was elected governor, and if I have to make the tough choices, I will make them. And he had to make a very, very tough choice. If you don't have the money, you can't do the project. You might even have to face layoffs. I know nobody wants to look at that, but you still have to look at it. You have to look at cutting down on projects, wish lists, and so forth. And I do have something other than that, just a little comment. The consuls were very tight-fisted in 2006, 7, and 8.